Hi everybody, it's the Soap Man. I'm going to have to move fast right here at the very beginning, and then I'll kind of explain what's going on. I'm doing two batches of soap right now. I'm doing a hot process and I'm doing a cold process. The hot process is already cooked. It's already ready to have my embeds put into it. I already had the scent oil. I put a little bit of titanium dioxide into it. And I put 4 teaspoons of sodium lactate to help harden it up. Does this look familiar? Maybe this looks familiar from last week. This did not turn out. I've used one of them, even though it's a little soft. It passed the ZAP test. I've used one, but the pink turned ashy, the gray is and the gold oxide, yellow oxide just has spots. It's just really ugly. I'm just not going to use it. So, the hot process, I've chopped up into big blocks. It's already cooked. I'm going to put them in and mold it because it's starting to cool down. And I want this to, have a nice hot base to attach to these embeds and make sure they stick really well. So, this is already cooked. I'm using brambleberries, apple sage. Smells great. It's a reliable, very durable fragrance oil. It works great in hot process and in cold process. It really holds the scent even in cold process. And because it has a high flash point, it's very safe to use in hot process. It has a 200+ degree flash point, so it's great. It doesn't discolor, doesn't misbehave in cold process. I really like that scent oil. So I'm going to mix this up pretty well. Make sure these embeds warm up and stick to this hot, thick soap. And get them in my mold. And then we're going to do a batch cold process with the same soap that I shaved down. I'll show you that in a little while. This is the same recipe that I used to make this soap. So if you want the recipe, go to this video, one that says about cocoa butter in it. I did change the percentages. This one has more oils because I had a pretty good sized batch, and the cold process I reduced it to have a smaller batch. It is the same recipe, I just have different amounts, different percentages of the oils, excuse me. Alright, this is ready to mold. I'm going to put what I can into this mold, and what doesn't fit into it's going to go into my column mold. Most of the time when I do hot process soap, this is what I do. I use embeds. I tried a couple of weeks ago hot process layers. Turned out so-so. Not bad by any means, but not all that great. This is when I do hot process. I really like it with embeds in it. Alright, that's all I'm going to put in this one. I'm going to smash this out as best as I can, get it nice and firm, so I don't have any air bubbles in the center. And it's still staying pretty nice and fluid, semi-fluid, especially since I put that cold soap into it. Alright, I'm going to put the rest of this in my column mold. So I'm going to have quite a good bit of soap out of this batch, and this is starting to cool down on me, so I got to get this in here fast. Alright, there we go. That's my hot process. Let's get this out of the way. clean all this up later. It'll be a nice soapy batch to do dishes with. Now let's get to the cold process. My oils were down to about 120 when I started to do this. Probably down to about 110 now. They were both pretty close together. I am going to gel this. I'm going to do a confetti layer, which means I'm going to take this mold, put a white base in the bottom with the embeds in it, the shaved embeds. I just took a cheese grater and shaved it up. And then I'm going to put a yellow layer on top of it. Okay, now let's mix up the lye waters. You know, I got in a hurry earlier, trying to do too much at once. I was starting to clean up, and I poured the lye water down the drain, the lye water to this batch. Had to start over. But anyway, I'm ready to go again. Make sure we don't pour this down the drain this time. Make a little bit of noise with a stick blender. I want a nice thick well-blended trace with this so it'll suspend those embeds. This is when it's nice to have two stick blenders. I have a really old one I'm afraid is going to go out at some point, so I went ahead and bought a newer one. It's good to have two at this point because I'm using them both. Alright, let's get a little bit off the top. Okay, we'll put a little bit of titanium dioxide in this to brighten it up. I don't want a whole lot because I don't want to get glycerin rivers. I'm going to be really careful. Hopefully not have glycerin rivers. That looks about right. We'll put a little bit of yellow in this, fizzy lemonade yellow in this. Go along with the theme of the yellow, I'm using Brambleberry's electric cocktail lemonade, electric lemonade cocktail, something like that. I've used it in a batch as a test sample. I did a real small batch, and it holds beautifully in cold process. It holds so well. It discolors just a little bit, so that's why I'm making sure I have this lightened up with titanium dioxide. Does not accelerate trace. Has a high flash point, smells great, and holds its scent great. Alright, now I'm going to stick blend just a little bit more to get both of these bases a little bit thicker, especially the bottom base, to hold these embeds. That's about all I dare do because I don't want to get it too thick. I'll put these in here, get them in the mold. I'll stick blend that just a little bit more. These are two of my favorite ways to use up soap. If I have something that, like for instance like this, it just didn't turn out the way I want, is to shave it and do a confetti soap with a colored layer on top for cold process, or to cube it and suspend it in hot process. So put this in cold process, put the cubes in hot process. And see, even with all that stick blending and with the scent oil in this, it's behaving beautifully. It's like a nice thick gravy, but it's just holding up beautifully. And the sample that I made, that I got, I was able to do a small batch of 100% coconut oil soap at a 20% super fat. I didn't do anything fancy. I left it white. I just put it in my muffin mold. So I had 3 muffins. My wife has one, loves it. I've already used one, getting ready to start the other. It's just fantastic the way it smells and the way this electric lemonade cocktail holds the whole process. So I went ahead and bought some. That sample worked. They got me to buy some, which of course was what they wanted. But the method worked, and I'm a happy camper. And people who get this soap are going to have a nice soap that hopefully is going to have a nice scent. That's holding up nice, beautifully. Can you see that? Yeah. This is holding up so well. As far as not thickening, I'm going to have to be extremely careful putting that top on it. I'm actually afraid to try to put that top on this right now. So folks, I'm going to end the video right now. What I'm going to do is go ahead and put this yellow on top, but this is going to have to set up a little bit more. I'm going to put it in the fridge. This is still staying fluid. I'll stir it here and there. Put this in the fridge, let it set up a little bit more, put the yellow on top with a textured top, and I'll see you tomorrow for cutting of both of these.